Hello everybody! Welcome back to TTBurger Segatember Extravaganza, and I am your host Tony, aka TTBurger, and welcome to some more Sega game reviews here all month long in September. And today we have a TTBurger Remastered Game review where I review old games I reviewed before and review them here to my current style. And today we're going to be looking at a fighting game franchise here. This is episode 17 of my Remastered Game reviews, part 1 of 5 parts. And today, like I said, all Sega games all month long for September, making it Segatember. And for today, we have a fighting game franchise done by Sega, and that is the Virtua Fighter franchise. Virtua Fighter needs no introduction. They've been around since like the 90s in the arcades and ported to the home consoles. Then they went to the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and all those consoles there. Virtua Fighter was everywhere with 5 big games and a spin-off too called Virtua Quest. And yep, Virtua Fighter was everywhere. Today we have 5 games here to look at here for this episode. Part 1 will be Virtua Fighter 2, Part 2 Virtua Fighter 4, Part 3 Virtua Fighter 5, Part 4 Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, and then we're wrapping things up with Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. Now I know what you're thinking, where's Virtua Fighter and Virtua Fighter 3? Well, there's no way to review Virtua Fighter unless you get the greatest hits version of Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, which I don't have because I already have the black of the game. No point in rebuying it just for that. And Virtua Fighter 3 was only released on the Sega Dreamcast and in arcades. Unless you live in Japan, you're able to play on the PS2, but you can't here. And so that's why those games are left out, but if those games ever come to the PlayStation Network store, I will definitely look at them in the future, for sure. But now we're going to get started here as we start off with Virtua Fighter 2, released first on January 1995 in the arcade, then ported to the Sega Saturn on November 30th the same year. A year later in December, it was ported to the Sega Genesis in a 2-bit form. And then, September 17, 1997, it was ported to Windows 95. And then, November 17, 2012, it was released for the PlayStation 3. And then one day later on the Xbox 360, we're looking at the PlayStation 3 version here. So let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when it comes to Virtua Fighter 2, I really was not a fan of it. Sure, it has some decent gameplay mechanics and a great graphics engine and good sound, but the problems lie in the unbalanced difficulty and the stiff controls. Yes, this game is hard. Very hard. Hard to the point where you will rage quit and scream. The opponent AI is so unbalanced to take big chunks of your health away. Even if your health meter is full and you're winning, they will always find a way to get back and beat you and kick your ass. The first 3 stages or so were fine. I had no problems. Then after that just switches automatically for no reason whatsoever. I understand challenge, but you do not want the game to be too easy. However, there are also times where it is overly difficult where you cannot beat the game. The only way to beat the game is to spam the same attacks over and over until you possibly win. That is something that should not be done in a fighting game. Forget about pulling off combos, ladies and gentlemen. They will not help you much at all. Your best bet is just spam the same buttons over and over, try and do throws as much as you can, but sometimes that'll be hard to do because they do not register. I say that because the controls are stiff. So stiff that there was a delay when pulling off an attack. That means a free hit for the opponent and you're just left hanging in the balance. Other times you just give up trying to defeat the opponent and instead just jump all around until the clock runs out. And that's funny, the way they jump, it's like they're on the moon, like astronauts, so they jump so slowly and move so slowly. There are 2 different versions of this game, Virtua Fighter 2 2.0 and Virtua Fighter 2 2.1. There's not really any difference here except for some small tweaks in the controls and graphics, but that's it. There is a difficulty selection, but it is a joke, mainly because even on easy, it is still a very hard game. Yeah, you can mess with the screen settings, the brightness and more. Sure, that is not important, but I guess it is cool here in the game. The graphics are good, classic Sega polygonal graphics of early 3D games, they look good. You have a good cast of characters. Sarah Bryan is my go-to character and I play as her in every Virtua Fighter game. You also have some cool moves to pull off, and there can be some fun here if it's done right, but the problems lay in that unbalanced difficulty and the super stiff controls to where you'll just rage quit. I did not talk much about the sound is good. You have the music, that is enjoyable. The characters talk in full dialogue. After they win a match, they say their catchphrases. The announcer sounds fine. I had no problem with the sound. It has good gameplay mechanics. When it's done right, you can pull off moves, it works fine. But this game could have been awesome. I mean, I really wanted to like Virtua Fighter 2. It has fun gameplay moments, good graphics, and good sound, but the problems that I mentioned earlier is what can be a big turnoff here and ruin the experience. But now, before we even give this game a score, let's go to our TTBurger Pros and Cons chart. For the TTBurger Pros, Virtua Fighter is back for a second run for the sequel. A great cast of characters, especially Sarah Bryan. good graphics and sound, and this game is playable on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. For the TTBurger cons, very unbalanced difficulty. Opponent AI is overpowered from the start for no reason. The controls are super stiff and clunky. The difficulty selection is a joke. Versions 2.0 and 2.1 have no difference at all for the most part. The characters jump like they are astronauts on the moon. You must spam attacks constantly in order to win a match. Attacks do not register at times, and you will die so much that you will rage quit. Because of the complaints I have with the game, the unbalanced difficulty and the stiff controls and everything, the game will be getting a low score of a 3 out of 10. I'm sorry if this offends anybody, and people who like Virtua Fighter 2, hey, I respect your opinion here and all. It's just, this game was not very good in my opinion, and it could have been so much better. And that's it for episode 17, part 1 of 5 of my TTBurger Remastered Game review on the Virtua Fighter franchise. Stay tuned for part 2, we're going to go to the PlayStation 2 era where we look at Virtua Fighter 4 for the PlayStation 2. The regular version, not looking at Evolution because that's a greatest hits version, and I don't own greatest hits games. And I don't buy second run games like that. So, just saying there. So, we look at Virtua Fighter 4 for the PlayStation 2 in the next part. That's all I gotta say. This is Tony. Peace out. Have a day and stay tuned. Segatember is gonna be rocking and rolling all month long, so stay tuned everybody. Take care.